Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Oop. Hello everyone, it's been a while since I've made a video. Today I'm going to be painting the 1/44th scale Barbatos Gundam, or Barbatos Gundam from Iron-Blooded Orphans, the anime. I'm going to be going with a post-shaded look, like a shaded kind of look for this. I was going to do some weathering, but I changed my mind because I have trouble getting the sense of scale correctly for weathering on some of the smaller kits, so I just felt like at the end it was a better choice to just not do it. The posing on this kit is amazing. You can basically do any pose you want. I was debating whether to super glue the kit in place in a pose I liked and then just painting it all as one piece, but I just think overall it might be better to just keep the posability and paint all the pieces individually. The only one complaint I really have is the hands. I feel like it could have included some extra hands that just look more dynamic. Also the fists, the way the knuckles and the fingers are kind of aligned is it's really I want to say it's like they're really boring fists. They don't really have any flair to them. But I'm gonna go ahead and get to the next part here. I'm gonna get the kit ready for painting, basically. Alright, first thing I'm doing, it's a little weird, I know. I'm using a lid from a not spaghetti jar, but a tomato sauce jar. I make my own little bases for my kits, so I just kind of cut a hole through it and then I stick a spare runner and then kind of just super glue everything together. I always check first if the kit fits, you know, kind of just get it how I want it and then work on the kit afterwards. For this kit there wasn't much preparation for getting it painted. All the pieces are separated really well. Just the forearms are the only thing that you kind of have to either glue or cement together and then kind of sand away the seam line. Those are the only real things you need to work on. But I'm going to paint the inner frame before I actually go and do that to the forearms. Here you can see I am priming the kit with Airbrush. The primer helps paint to stick onto the plastic. I'm using Vallejo gray primer. Like most people, I kind of just do a thin coat first and then do a thick coat afterwards. This part is a little tedious to do because you gotta do it to every single piece and then you can actually have some fun with the colors. But this is step one. Alright, this is the funnest part for me, painting the small details. The inner frame especially is really fun because I get to actually paint with metallics, and just metallics look really nice if done right. And I started off trying to do a dry brush effect, kind of to make it look like there were scratches all over the kit, but at the moment I only have acrylic silver, and I personally think that, I mean, maybe I don't have the best acrylic silver out there, maybe I can find a good one, but I'm using just like the basic Vallejo silver, and it's a little too chunky, and so it doesn't really go over well. But after I got all that done, this is what I like to do with my inner frames. Anything that's like a ring that goes around something, anything that looks like some type of ring, I paint it gold. I don't really use copper that often, mainly because I feel like realistically gold would be stronger than copper, so like maybe use gold for some of the high tension parts. But I usually hand brush these details. I think on my next kit I might experiment and try to airbrush them and then mask it off and see how that turns out. Sounds tedious, I know, but it's worth a try. Alright, and I've skipped ahead here. You can see I've painted the white pieces. Actually, I think I've painted all the pieces at this point. But the inner frame, I did gold for anything that looks like a ring. Any piston type things or any rods, I make them silver. And then anything else that I just kind of want to add color to, I'll make it metallic red. So I've airbrushed, I think at this point all the white pieces for sure. I see a red piece painted there. But I did post shading, which is basically I just used a black primer for the white pieces and then just highlighted all the bright spots on the kit, or all the like big empty spots on the kit, and it makes this shading effect. And so actually I just primed it and then highlighted with white. And then for the colored pieces, I try to do something that I've never done before. It did work out how I wanted to at first, but I think I kind of overdid it. But I tried to do the same thing with metallic. I tried to prime everything in black and then highlight with metallic blue or metallic red. But I kind of lost the shading at one point. It's very subtle, but I think I just kind of went over it a little too much. But in the end, I think everything kind of blends well. Everything kind of looks like one. That's kind of a difficult part, is trying to make sure that when you're painting everything individually, that by the end it all like makes sense. And I did start doing some weathering on the inner frame, but I wasn't liking how it was turning out, and so I decided to just leave the rest of the kit alone. I also was going to put stickers, but I really liked the simple design, and I just didn't want to overdo it. I felt like it was fine, like how it was. Oh yeah, and I also added gold for the yellow pieces. I usually do yellow on the yellow pieces, but I feel like for this Gundam, he's a little tougher, so I feel like he needs to look like a little grittier, and I think gold is more of a gritty kind of thing. Just makes it look stronger, and so I went with gold instead of the yellow. And right here is, I would say this is the most satisfying part. It's kind of just assembling everything back together. And here is something here is something that's a little tough for me. I don't really have steady hands, and so painting extremely small details always makes me nervous. Originally I was going to just use the stickers for the markings on his armor, but a lot of them actually didn't fit properly, and so I actually had to go and paint the details myself. But like I said, I didn't have my hands shake very easily, and I didn't have the smallest brush at the time, so I just kind of made do with what I had. I did have a small brush, but some of these details need like a almost like a needle-sized brush. Overall looks good. I mean, when you look at it close up, you see some mistakes, but from a distance it's perfectly fine. And then I went back and looked at the design art, and I noticed that I missed a few spots, but this is basically the end of all I did. All that's really left is to top coat it with a matte finish. The matte finish is to kind of protect it, protect all the paint so it doesn't wear out, or so it doesn't get scratched as easy. Doing the details and like assembling the kit, those are like the funnest parts. Everything in between kind of gets tedious a bit. That's why sometimes I try to play around with the airbrush and do like some pre-shading or highlighting, post-shading, stuff like that. I rarely do like a straight out of the box paint job. Okay, and now I'm actually finished. There are a couple of things that I might add later on, but right now I really like how it looks as it is. I just kind of want to show you the pose that I have it displayed as. I moved his head up a little bit just so you can see his face a little more, but he's meant to be looking down. Like I mentioned earlier, you can see some mistakes up close, but when it's displayed on the shelf, it looks really nice. I want to just say that the shading, for the most part, came out exactly how I wanted it. The metallic shading, it's really subtle, but it still works, and so I'm really happy with how that came out. I backed up the kit a little bit so you can see the details up close. You have the piston in the back of the knees. You have those tubes on the back of the legs. I do want to mention that I forgot to I painted the left forearm pieces before I went and cemented them together and sanded them, so there's a seam line there. I might fix that in the future, but this paint job is kind of an easy one, and so it was more for the fun of it than anything. This kit, it's a simple kit, and so it's kind of one of those paint jobs that you just kind of do just for fun, because it doesn't require too much work, but it still can look pretty good if you put some work into it. Originally I was going to add some details, but I went against it because I really like the simple design. I like how the inner frame is really detailed, but then the armor is kind of simple. I kind of just like the design. I've always liked this design ever since the first images came out for it, and so this kit makes me pretty happy. But yep, that is it. That's my Barbatos painted. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any tips, let me know as well. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. I know there was a big gap there between videos, but hopefully I can do this more often. I really need to make room for my hobbies and just get things done. I have a huge backlog, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.